Hello students, today we are going to discuss about three important topics, and that is Punnett square, test cross and laws of a So first of all, let me start with the Punnett square. What is a Punnett square? The production of gametes by the parents. You know very well, before any kind of a sexual reproduction, parents will form gametes. Okay, and that gamete will fuse together and form zygote. Okay, and the formation of a zygote, and after that the generation, which is F1 generation or F2 generation of plants, can be understood from a simple diagram, and that simple diagram is called Punnett square. Okay, so what is a Punnett square? It is a one kind of simple diagram by using which we can understood F1, F2 generation of a plants or any other organisms. Okay, and it is named after one scientist, Reginald C. Punnett. Okay, and that's why this is called Punnett square, because it was developed by the first time by British geneticist, and he was a Reginald C. Punnett. Okay, that's why this name is given. This simple diagram name was given by this scientist, and that's why name is a Punnett square. It is a graphical representation to calculate the probability. Okay, by using this simple diagram, we can calculate the probability of all possible genotypes. Okay, of offspring in the genetical cross. The possible gametes are written on the two sides, usually on the top and left column. Here you can see. Okay, this is about the male gametes, and here is a female gametes. Okay, we can write down it on the top of the square. Okay, the possible gamete. This is the possible type of gametes here. Okay, and possible type of gametes are written on the two sides of, usually on the top row and left column. This is the top row. Okay, and this is the left column. On which side? Both the side this gamete will be written. All possible combinations are represented in the boxes below. Here you can see both type of combination will here. This both type of combination is here. Okay, so square will be made. Okay, and all possible combinations are represented in boxes. Okay, and below in the square. Here you can see in the square it is written, which is generates a square output form, and this is the whole Punnett square. Okay, by using which we can get idea how many will be homozygous trait, how will be heterozygous trait. Okay, how many will be homozygous dominant, how many will be homozygous recessive, like that. Here you can see. Okay, this is the diagram, and we based on this we can do the possibility and possible outcome. We can understood the possible outcome of the next generation. So let me summarize what is a Punnett square. Punnett square is a way of predicting the expected result of the genotype and the phenotype in the cross. Okay, and that is a very important tool for the study of the hereditary. So Punnett square is a way of predicting the expected result of the genotype and the phenotype in the cross. So Punnett square is a diagram that predicts the outcome of a genetic cross by considering all possible combination. Here you can see this gamete is here. Okay, capital A, small a, this is the type of a gamete. Suppose here one cross is given, AA, that is a capital A, and small a, one is a recessive, one is a dominant, both are crossing over occur, and as a result of that you can see here on the row, top of the row, here a gamete formation written. Okay, possible type of gamete formation is written. Here female gamete is written, and suppose here male gametes are written, and then combination type of a possibility of a combination is written in the boxes. Okay, like suppose this A, that is a dominant A, this is also dominant A gamete, this is also dominant A gamete, both dominant gamete fuse together and form zygote. Then what is the possibility and what will be the outcome? Capital AA, right? Suppose this is a small a, this is a recessive one, and here this is a dominant one. Suppose these two gametes are fused together, then there is a possibility of a heterozygous trait. Okay, so one will be capital A, one will be small a, and then here also you can see this capital A will fuse with the small a, then here a capital A, small a will be the outcome. And finally in this square here you can see small a and small a, both the recessive trait will fuse together, and that may be result into small a type of recessive type of a trait. So by this way, by using this Punnett square, we can easily get the idea what will be the expected result of genotype and the phenotype in the cross. So now I am giving you one activity. Draw Punnett square for capital TT into capital T small t. Means if these both trait are crossing over in between, then what may be the possible outcome. Okay, for that you have to draw Punnett square and practice, and then you have to write down genotype and phenotype ratio in the comment, and this activity is must, and I am giving you 2 minutes for this. Okay, so be ready for this. Your time start now. So now let me discuss about next topic of this chapter, and that is back cross and test cross. Okay, so first of all let me see what is a back cross. So back cross is a cross between hybrid. Here you can see this is the hybrid having one dominant allele and one recessive allele. Okay, and it must be cross between the any parent. Okay, maybe recessive parent, maybe dominant parent. So such a type of a hybrid cross is called back cross. Okay, and as a result you can see it will be having a 1:1, means 50% chance of a dominant character and 50% chance of a recessive character. Okay, and next is a test cross, in which crossing over will occur in between organism with a dominant phenotype to a recessive individual. Suppose here is a hybrid one, here is a recessive parent. Okay, so crossing over between these two, and as a result of that here also you will get 1:1 ratio. Okay, so half will be tall and half will be dwarf here in this case. Okay, so means half you will get dominant character and half you will get recessive. So now let me understand more about test cross and when it will be applicable. Okay, so test cross is used to find out unknown genotype. Suppose this flower having, you have a flower, this one, okay, and you don't know the genotype of this flower. Okay, this is a purplish color, but you don't know whether it is heterozygous or homozygous. So if you want to know about the zygosity, means if it is heterozygous or homozygous, so at that time you can apply the test cross. Let me see. Suppose this is the dominant phenotype that you don't know. Okay, actually it is having unknown genotype, and now you have to cross it with the recessive parent. Okay, so as you cross it with the recessive parent, and if you get all result like this, okay, means all result like in the dominant phase, then all are purplish color flower. That means all are violet or a purple flower. That means interpretation you can do is the unknown flower having homozygous dominant. Okay, so by this we can get the idea whether this flower is a homozygous or a heterozygous. So it is all depend on the result here. Okay, so if you get all result which are violet in color, that means this flower having homozygous dominant type of a plant. Okay, and suppose this flower having a purple color or violet color, but it is not a homozygous, then if you cross it with the recessive parent, then what happen? 50% will be violet and 50% will be white. Okay, so as a result of this, you can get the idea that half of the flower is a violet or a purple and half of the flower are a white. That indicate that this unknown flower may be heterozygous flower. So by reading this type of results, say, suppose these all flowers which are you getting is a violet in color, that indicate this flower is a homozygote. Okay, all flower if it is violet, then it is indicated, means interpretation you can draw is the these flower may be having homozygous. And if you get result which is 50-50 percentage, okay, means suppose 50% purple flower or a violet flower or 50% white flower. Okay, that indicate that if you get half of the flower are violet and half of the flower is a white, that means unknown flower having heterozygous type of a plant. Okay, so by this way we can get the idea how it is having a unknown genotype. So if you want to find out unknown genotype, at that time you can use this test cross, and Mendel has conducted this test cross to determine F2 genotype. Okay, so you can understand what is a genotype, okay, by using this test. On the basis of monohybrid cross experiment, Mendel had given some laws, okay, that is a conclusive laws. Okay, so let me discuss what is the first law based on monohybrid cross experiment and which is given by the Mendel. Okay, so first of all, characters are controlled by discrete unit, and such a discrete unit is called factors. Okay, suppose here this capital T itself is a factor and this small t itself is a factor. Because Mendel do not know about the gene, he named it as a factor. Nowadays we are calling it as genes. Okay, and factors occur in a pair always, because one we will get from the mother and one we will get from the father. That's why these all factors will be in the pair always. Okay, in a dissimilar pair, factors, one member of the pair dominant. Okay, as I told you, suppose this is a homozygous trait, so at that time both having the same situation. Okay, but when it is a heterozygous, suppose this is a heterozygous, this is also homozygous, this is also homozygous, so at that time no question of a dominant or recessive, right? But here when both are dissimilar, okay, this means that is a heterozygous condition, so at that time one will be one factor will be dominant and another factor may be of a recessive. So what is a recessive and what is a dominant, you know very well. Which is expressed is considered as a dominant, which is not expressed or a suppressed is considered as a recessive. Okay, so similar pair of factor here you can see. This is a similar pair. This is homozygous, this is also homozygous, and this one is a heterozygous. Okay, so in a dissimilar pairs of a factor, one member of a pair will be dominant and second one will be recessive always. Means if both are dissimilar, at that time never both will be expressed. Okay, out of these two, only one will express and one will remain unexpressed or suppressed, and this is considered as a law of dominance. This is concluded on the basis of monohybrid cross experiment carried out by the Mendel. Okay, the law of dominance is used to explain the expression of only one of the parental character in a monohybrid cross in a F1 and expression of both in the F2 generation. You know very well, in F1 generation we get all tall plants, right? And in F2 generation there is a 3:1 ratio, okay, in which we will get one type of a dwarf condition. Okay, and it also explains that proportion, this proportion will be 3:1. Okay, right, you have already learned this. 3 we get the tall trees and then 1 we getting as a dwarf trees. Okay, so obtained at the F2 generation, means in the F2 generation expression of both will occur, and in the F1 generation only one type of a dominant character will be expressed. Okay, so let me repeat what is this. The law of dominance is used to explain the expression of the only one parental character in the monohybrid cross in the F1 and expression of both character in F2. Okay, and if it is expressed into F2, then the ratio will be 3:1 in F2 generation. Next law based on a monohybrid cross experiment is a law of a segregation. So let me discuss about law of segregation. So here during gamete formation, you know very well, before any sexual reproduction there is a gamete formation, and the factors of that is also considered as alleles of a character pair present in the parents segregate or separate from each other and such that the gamete receive only one out of two factors. So in the parent cell, suppose this is a parent cell, there is a two factors. Okay, but in the gamete only one this factor will be obtained. Okay, so gamete will have only one out of these two options. Okay, so suppose this is a small tt, then here gamete will be having small t in one small t. Okay, but suppose here this is a heterozygous condition, then one gamete will get capital T and another gamete will get small t. So this is called law of segregation. Okay, and homozygote parents produce similar gamete, you can understand. Here homozygosity is there, here also homozygosity, so here both gamete will be similar. Okay, and heterozygous parent produce two kinds of gamete. Here you can see this is having heterozygous condition, so here two chances are there, 50% chance of having a T, capital T in the gamete and small t in the another gamete. Okay, so 50-50 chances are there. So heterozygous parent produce two kinds of gamete and each having one allele with equal proportion, 50-50, both having equal proportion, 50-50% chance. Okay, so here this is considered as a law of segregation, in which you can understand homozygous will produce similar kind of gametes, okay, and heterozygous will produce dissimilar kind of a gametes. So this is your homework for today's lecture, and before we finish this lecture, let me summarize whole topic by using one animation video. So look at this video.
From his experiments, Mendel inferred that something was being stably passed on from parents to progeny over successive generations. This was the reason the dwarfness that had disappeared in the F1 hybrid had reappeared in the F2 hybrid. Mendel called this something factors, which are known as genes today. Genes are represented by letters for our convenience. The trait expressed in the F1 hybrid is denoted by a capital letter, while the other trait is denoted by a small letter. As all plants obtained in the cross between tall and dwarf plants were tall in the F1 hybrid, the tall trait is denoted by capital T and the dwarf by small t. Here, capital T and small t are alleles of each other, That is, they are a pair of genes representing two alternative forms of the same character, namely the height of the plant. Therefore, pairs of alleles for height in plants would be capital T, capital T, capital T, small t, and small t, small t. Here, capital T, capital T, capital T, small t, and small t, small t are genotypes of the plant, and the descriptive terms tall and dwarf are the phenotypes. The alleles in the genotype capital T, and small t are similar or homozygous, while the alleles in the genotype capital T are dissimilar or heterozygous. Moreover, Mendel also called the character that expresses itself in the F1 hybrid dominant, and the one that failed to express itself recessive. Therefore, through his experiments with tall and short pea plants, Mendel found that the character of tallness was more potent over the character of dwarfness in the F1 hybrid, and that both tallness and dwarfness appeared in a 3:1 ratio in the F2 hybrid. Mendel called this the law of dominance. The law states that in a monohybrid pure line cross between parents with contrasting traits, only one form of the trait, that is, the dominant form, appears in the F1 generation, and both forms appear in a ratio of 3:1 in the F2 generation. Also, from his experiments, Mendel observed that the recessive parental trait was expressed without any blending in the F2 hybrid. After verifying the results of the crossings, it was found that the segregation of alleles is a random process, and the chances of a gamete containing either allele is 50%. This is known as the law of segregation, and it states that alleles do not show any blending, but instead segregate from each other during gamete formation into different gametes. Both the characters governed by these alleles are recovered in the F2 generation, though one of the characters is not displayed in the F1 generation. A diagram that is very useful in predicting the outcome of a particular cross or breeding experiment is Punnett square, which was devised by British geneticist Reginald C. Punnett. Punnett square is a graphical representation that helps calculate the probability of all possible genotypes of the progeny in a genetic cross. Let's take a look at how Mendel's experiments are denoted using the Punnett square. In the F1 generation, Mendel crossed homozygous dominant capital T parent with a homozygous recessive small t parent. The gametes produced by the parents are written on two sides of the square, and the capital T progeny produced by the fertilization of the gametes is written within the square. Though the genotype of the F1 hybrid is capital T, its phenotypic character is tall. Plants of the genotype capital T produced by the F1 hybrid are then self-pollinated to produce gametes of the genotype capital T and small t in equal proportion. From the square, you can easily see that the pollen grains of genotype capital T have a 50% chance of pollinating the eggs of the genotype capital T as well as small t during fertilization. Similarly, pollen grains of genotype small t have a 50% chance of pollinating eggs of genotype capital T as well as small t during fertilization. Thus, random fertilization results in zygotes that are of genotypes T, T small t, and small t. From the Punnett square, you can also see that 1/4 of the random fertilizations have led to T, half has led to T small t, and finally 1/4 has led to small t. Therefore, the genotypic ratio is 1:2:1. And as 3/4 of the plants are tall and 1/4 dwarf, the phenotypic ratio is 3:1. The ratio 1:2:1 or 1/4:1/2:1/4 of T is to T small t is to small t is condensable to a binomial expression of the form ax plus by the whole square. The expression has the gametes bearing the genes T or small t in equal frequency of 1/2. This expression can be expanded as shown. Thus, we can calculate genotypic ratios using mathematical probability. However, by just looking at the phenotype of a plant, it is not possible to predict its genotype. For example, you cannot predict whether a tall plant from the F1 or F2 hybrid is homozygous dominant, that is, T, or is heterozygous dominant, that is, T small t. Therefore, a test cross or a cross between individuals of the F1 generation with a homozygous recessive parent is carried out to determine whether the genotype of the individual in question is homozygous dominant or heterozygous dominant. Thus, through his monohybrid cross experiments, Mendel proposed the laws of dominance and segregation.
In next lecture, we will learn about two important theory, that is incomplete dominance and dominance theory. So till that, goodbye.